One take.
Hello and welcome to this fresh episode of Point Counterpoint. We are here to debate and discuss an issue which has become a recurring theme in Goan politics. Earlier, we thought mergers and acquisitions was a business term and a corporate term. It has very much gotten ensconced in the lexicon of politics, especially Goan politics. And when we talk of mergers and acquisitions, there is only one party which is in the position to, and they are doing it very aggressively, and that is the BJP. And Goa has been no different. And I think twice in the span of literally 2 to 3 years, we've seen the first wave of defections of the Congress when 10 people went en masse to the BJP, when the Congress leader of the opposition was also spearheading it. It's happened for the second time, though the Congress had removed Michael Lobo as the leader of the opposition, but technically he still happened to be. And he chaired the CLP meeting and triggered off a defection where he himself was one of the main architects. But the reason why we are here is not focus so much on the BJP, but also speak about the Congress, as it were, which seems to be kind of resting in pieces. And the complete degeneration of the Congress in that one feels is that every time the Congress seems to pick itself up, it again kind of crumbles and goes back. So this inability of the Congress to even stand still and collapse like a pack of cards needs to be analyzed, and one cannot only be simplistic and only talk about greed and corruption as the main issue. Probably they are the main issues, but one needs to look at it in a much wider context. There is a lot to speak on, and I think it'll be best to let our very eminent panel deliberate on most of them. I'll introduce them to you, though most need no introduction. I'll start with Advocate Cleophas Coutinho, a very well-known political analyst and regular on these debates. Agnello Fernandez, again the ex-MLA of Kalangut of the Congress, a veteran politician undoubtedly. Noted and veteran trade unionist Putikau Kebab, who happens to be a member of AAP, but his political life and is beyond that also. Giriraj Pai Vernikar is the spokesperson of the BJP, and he is here obviously and he will be a target of many questions. And last but not the least, my esteemed colleague and the editor of Dainik Herald, Avid Bagleji. Welcome all. I'll start with you, Giriraj Bab, straight away. Now, why does the BJP need to do this? We understand that, okay, I will use a crude word called buying and selling, the crude phase. That is debatable. But suppose we use that phrase and we know in what context we're using it. But there cannot be a seller if there is not a buyer. Even if I mean it in non-monetary terms, if I mean it completely in terms of strengthening your party and
First thing, I don't agree with the terminology of buying and selling. I think one thing we must realize that BJP did not need to engineer a defection at this point of time.
Correct.
And as you rightly said in your opening remarks itself, this is not the first time that is happening in Goa.
Right.
And you said that defections or people dumping their parties is happening largely because of the BJP. I think one inherent question we are missing, and a lot of times we get caught up in this web of morality that we create around us. How is it different that when you contest on some ticket and go to other party from when you contest in a coalition and then go to another? What we saw in Maharashtra, we have seen that BJP, Shiv Sena won, but Congress got into the government. Today, when Nitish Kumar leaves the BJP alliance, everybody says it's a blow to BJP. Nobody lectures him on morality. As to you went to the people with BJP, BJP turned out to be a much larger party than his. But I think the first thing which is happening is the double standards. And apart from what has happened, I think one of the key thing is the timing of this whole thing. That as Rahul Gandhi has embarked on a Bharat Jodo Yatra, I think people from his own party have taken the message that they should join the party, the only party which can truly unify the country. And Congress has bigger questions. I mean, it's not only that the people are leaving them for the BJP. I mean, Goa may be, in terms of seniority, they may be much lower. But if you look at people like Ghulam Nabi Azad, you look at people like Kapil Sibal, they haven't joined the BJP. people like Sachin Pilot. I mean, you tell me what wrong Sachin Pilot has done in Rajasthan, but yet he was denied for Gandhi family loyalists. So I think till the time Congress doesn't wake up and realize that the problem is the Gandhis and not the BJP, I think we may have a different political discourse as well.
I'll just press with this line of questioning a little bit more.
Sure.
My question was that fine, we understand the problems Congress has, it is as clear as day. My thing is, in the Goa situation, when there was no need to kind of get more MLAs, why did the BJP feel the need to agree to this exercise, even if it was orchestrated or triggered off by the Congress, let us say, for argument?
See, I think when 8 elected representatives reach out to your party, I think as a responsible ruling party as well, I mean, we often talk about constructive opposition, but I think there is all need that you be constructive even while ruling. And when 8 elected representatives reach out to you saying that, you know, we want to move away from the Congress because of the problems within the Congress itself. I mean, you know, be it, you know, the president who joined maybe 15 to 30 days before, you know, elections, or many other. I mean, Michael Lobo, today everybody talks about him, you know, when he joins the BJP, but nobody talks about why he was made the legislature party chief in the first place when he had just left the BJP. So I believe it was that, you know, 8 elected representatives reached out to us, and, you know, we thought that if it strengthens our cause and organization, I think they are welcome. And again, I mean, we have to also look at it from the context of 2024 elections, where every vote matters and every seat matters, and we are committed to give 2 seats, Lok Sabha seats, to strengthen Prime Minister Modi's, you know, pitch for the 3rd term.
Klufat, we'll come to you, then we'll go into this order. A quick response to what Giriraj Bab has said, and so do you agree that, you know, for the BJP it was nothing but a strategic political thing, and the Congress MLAs were weak enough to?
I think he's right in the sense he said it is in tune with our cause, and their cause from beginning has been Congress Mukh Bharat. That means they will be the only party in the country, and they will wipe out Congress, and possibly it is in that direction they are looking, because any other party are all regional parties, and regional parties can never lay a challenge to the central party. They are the central pole of Indian politics, and when they decide that they will knock out the other opposition party, which has 20% vote share in the country, I think this move is in that direction. But I don't agree with Giriraj on the point that they have not engineered. Certainly it has happened from the other side, but whether it is engineered or not, the people who have gone for money and or power. I don't think they have gone for any other reason. Secondly, we will know now whether they get power or not. Next is on the issue of Giriraj said that it is a matter of strengthening a ruling party has also to be constructive. But I find as far as our country and our state in particular are concerned, a absolutely wrong signal is going to the world. See, you take any international study, whether it is VDEMS, whether it is economic wing of economist, or you take Freedom House, everywhere we are losing on democracy, but we are getting very high points on elections. We have a robust election system, but our democratic system is collapsing. According to all the world studies, India is falling on democracy, and incidents like this will further fall us at the world level, at the international level.
Okay. Agnel, one of the topics or titles we thought of when we are doing this debate is RIP Congress. Okay. Now the point is, do you well and truly believe, as somebody who knows the Congress inside out, is that phrase fits? And if it does fit, why does it fit?
First, let me come back to what he said, that these people were taken only to strengthen the BJP. Everybody knows there is infighting in the BJP. Everybody knows there are 2 people waiting to become chief ministers. I think this exercise is more in part to strengthen the hands of this chief minister who is there now. It's not just to strengthen the BJP. BJP is already strengthened. They had how many, 23 people, 22 people.
Yes.
They are strengthened. BJP was safe. It is only to strengthen the hands of the chief minister and ward off the challenge from the other guy that these people have been taking. As far as Congress is concerned,
Who's the other guy?
you know, everybody knows. You all have been bringing it up. There's two people who wanted to become chief ministers before Dr.
Sorry.
Sarma. As far as Congress is concerned,
For Michael Lobo, it may be the Goa's ED.
Okay. We'll get into these reasons also in a bit. Yes.
so as far as the Congress is concerned, you know, this happens every time. Last time, what Ghulam Nabi Azad has said is correct. The High Command or our leaders there are listening to this security guards, this other fellows who are, you know, last time Sheila Kumar came, this time Gundu Rao came. The common thread there is Girish Chodankar. So Girish Chodankar is a person who cannot win even on Panchayat election. He is in charge of elections in Goa, the last two elections there. And I told them, give tickets to honest people, loyal people. He said, no, we must also win the election. No? I said, if you win, they're going to go back to BJP. I gave the example of Michael Lobo. I said, there's no way he's going to stay with us. He's got so many cases against him. They're going to pull him up. And he'll go that side. This I told him, it came in the press also.
Right.
I told him in January, on 11th of January, you brought it out. Well, I said, he's going to go back to BJP if he wins. There's so many cases. No, but see, if Congress in Goa at least has been running on money paid for tickets. That I can clearly tell. When you ask any of the 8 people who have gone, not a single one of them have got a ticket on this merit. They have all paid for the ticket. So don't blame them now for leaving. They have gone back to recover their money. Ask Girish what he's done with the money that he's taken to give. So RIP Congress, I don't believe that because there are still people who are with the Congress. But how many times do people forgive Congress? It's only because of these crooks in the Congress that Congress is at this stage today.
Put him up. See, the thing is, you may be looking at it lightly from the outside with a more dispassionate, detached issue. Let us look at the space that the opposition has and still continues to have. The first question is, after what has happened, now technically now there are 7 people in the opposition space, right? Out of a total of 40, including all parties. Total strength of opposition is reduced to 7. Now the point is, do you feel that this is probably for the first time, and you know Goa well, that we have a situation where the opposition neither has the quantity nor the quality to play that effective role of checks and balances that is so important in a democracy?
Yes, it is true. See, basically in Goa, if you see from Bandodkar side, when Bhausaheb Bandodkar was the chief minister, defection is started from Goa only, if I have not wrong.
Right.
No, it is from 1967. When it
67.
started in center.
Correct.
First one was in 63.
63. Yeah,
63. Yes.
Goa, that's why I am telling you. That's why. So, this is there. Basically, in Goa, people is the main cause for this type of things. Because if you see other parts of the country, if somebody goes against them, people teach them the lesson during the next elections. Here it doesn't happen. And therefore, all politicians are taking Goan people on their rights. This is a basic issue. Otherwise, you see, mostly you see anything. Today they will say, I'm Congress. Tomorrow they will say, I'm BJP. Just change this. As regards opposition, now Goa has to a strong opposition. Unless there is no strong opposition, government will, there is no control over the government. And many things in Goa today are free for all. There is no check. If I am in trade union for last 40 years,
Right.
it is a rampant unfair labor practices followed in Goa.
But tell me, Pudi, just to interrupt a little bit,
Correct.
you can go back to your point.
Yeah.
I'm just interrupting with one important question.
Tell me.
The question here is that when you talk of opposition, the Congress is now literally on its last legs as of now, unless it revives itself
Correct,
again,
correct.
and good people come in. It all depends on what the leadership is. Let's
Correct.
put it this way.
Yeah, 100%.
Now the issue is the only other political party or 2 parties. Let us name 2 parties.
Yes.
AAP has got 2 MLAs and we
Correct.
have 2 other
Correct.
parties. Goa
Correct.
Forward has 1 MLA.
Correct.
Now the point here is that where is this opposition going to come from? I mean, does AAP have the capacity to kind of regenerate itself, infuse good people inside and then do it? Where do you see the opposition coming from?
See, there are 2 things. If you see 1977, when Janata Party came. It started with a movement. This is not only Goa, it is happening everywhere now in the country. Even if you go to Bihar, they are engineering, BJP engineering and just destroying the opposition. People themselves will realize in 2024. And AAP is going to be
But we thought that would happen in 2022. It didn't happen then also.
in Goa.
Yeah.
In Goa, it is not happened because of different factors. If you see the voting pattern in Goa in 2024, how much percentage they got? 33? Because it is divided. And RG became the Dev म्हणता पळय आमचो दिगंबर बाप तो देव पावलो असं तोच विषय. So it is not politically if you analyze, it was 33% winning against 35%.
Right.
Now here strong opposition will come. It is not that people will not oppose. People today are not opposing Goa with different reasons. Many people are known to each other. They are having some vested interest, like they will give the job, why I should be against them. This type of things happen in election also. This type of things happens because many people have offered jobs. Nobody started against them, though in the heart they are against, but they are supported.
Ultimately, Abhijit, from what Putibab just said, see, the issue is, okay, I take his points on board, but ultimately election and politics is about hard strategy. There is very little emotion. Okay. And the point is, how do you as a political analyst and editor analyze what has happened in Goa yesterday?
फाटली जर पळयले आमी
वय.
खुबशी वर्सां जाल्यार काँग्रेस आतां म्हणटा की आमचे आमदार व्हरता म्हणून पूण इतली वर्सां काँग्रेस कितें करताली? MGP जी सोंपली, रेड्यूस जाली, ती काँग्रेसीक लागून सोंपली. ते म्हणटा की ते BJPन तांची स्पेस घेतली पूण आमदार प्रत्येक खेपे काँग्रेसीन MGचे फोडले आनी व्हेले. आतां आमदार फोडपाचो वचपाचो टायम काँग्रेसीचो आयला. काँग्रेस खंय फेल गेल्या नॅशनल लेवल आणि रिजनल लेवलाचेर. ते बदलतो जो पॉलिटिकल सिनारियो आसा, लोकांचे एक्सपेक्टेशन जे बदललेले आसा ते मतीत दवरपाक ते फेल गेले. लिडरशीप फेल्युअर जाल्ली आसा नॅशनल लेवल, लोकल लेवलाचेर. तांचे कडेन आतां लिडरशीप उरूना. आतां तांच्यांनी जे लोक आसा तेंच्यांनी सगळ्यांनी सोडपा जाय, नवीन लिडरशीप हाडपा जाय आणि नवीन लिडरशीप नव्या पर्स्पेक्टिव्हान हाडपाक जाय. काँग्रेस कितें करता? आतां फाटल्या इलेक्शनान तेंच्यांनी कितें केलें? 6 म्हयने आसतना तेंच्यांनी कॅन्डिडेट सोदपाक स्टार्ट केली. 3 म्हयने आसतना तेंच्यांनी कॅन्डिडेट घेवपाक स्टार्ट केली. थोडे 8 दीस आसतना कॅन्डिडेट घेतले आनी कॅन्डिडेट लोकां मुखार काँग्रेसीचे म्हणून गेले. ते लोक 8 दिसां पयलीं आयले, आयज गेले म्हणून काँग्रेस आपले गेले कशें म्हणू शकता? इट्स नॉट लॉस टू काँग्रेस. काँग्रेसचे वोटर्स आहा ते आसा थंयच आसा. फाटल्या इलेक्शनाक जे तेंची पर्संटेज आसली वोटिंगेची तितलीच तांची आसा, तितलीच पर्संटेज ह्या इलेक्शनाक तांकां मेळ्ळी. काँग्रेसीचे वोट शेअर कमी जावना. आमदार कमी जाले आसत, आमदार आतां गेले आसत, पण एक आमदार आसतना तांचे मागीर 11 आमदार जाल्ले. हे आमी लक्षात दवरपाक. म्हणजे काँग्रेसीचो एक वोटर आसा, पण काँग्रेस खंय फेल वता की क्रेडिबिलिटी तांचेर आतां लोक विश्वास दवरचे ना की आतां BJP नाका म्हणून काँग्रेसीक मतां घालून म्हणून जर कोण सांगूंक वचत जाल्यार ते म्हणटात तुजे आमदार वता फाल्यां, आमी तुका कितें दिवपाक जाय. सो आतां एक व्हॅक्यूम क्रिएट जाल्लो हा गोंयांत. तर तो व्हॅक्यूम आतां कोण घेतले? आप घेता, RG घेता, गोवा फॉरवर्ड घेता. दॅट इज अ बिग क्वेश्चन. हू वील फील दॅट व्हॅक्यूम? बिकॉज देर इज व्हॅक्यूम नाव.
Okay.
Because Congress had lost the credibility because of these two incidents.
If anybody wants to interject and respond to each other, you are more than welcome.
See,
I mean, I'm not going to.
Yeah. What he said and what Puti said on AAP and he said on AAP whether they could feel. I don't know whether AAP can feel because in 2017 they came up as winners.
Right.
They told us they are winning with 35% vote share.
Fake surveys.
So they were at 6% then. After 5 years, they were at 6%.
Right.
Same level.
Same. Congress was at almost the same. They went down. TMC factor was there. BJP has remained the same. Slight improvement from 32, 33, 32.5, 32.5 to 33 point something they have gone. Slight increase. So according to me, all parties have remained the same. From 2017 to 2022. There is no change. Only change that has happened this time is that there has been a fragmented opposition. Now, what Bagle says about credibility is a factor. Last time also, this issue was there because when Congress went to elections, he was 1, Digambar. They came to 11. Though they were 4, otherwise finally it was 1. It was 11. That is because somehow people felt they were the alternative. Now,
You mean the Congress?
the Congress was the alternative.
yes.
If the people felt that AAP was the alternative, maybe this shift would have gone to them. But somehow they felt they are not the alternative. As far as RG, I don't see much in that also because somehow I feel they vanished in the Panchayat elections where I expected them to do very well.
No, they were routed in many places.
Yes, I expect them to do very well. So I feel the RG story is coming down. Now, whether who will catch that imagination as against the central pole of politics is left up to maybe Congress party if they can build or maybe something new. Long time is there. But I still have one more factor to tell. There are 2 states, Gujarat and Himachal. I feel these states will throw some light simply because AAP is coming up as a challenger in Gujarat. And if AAP can become a challenger in Gujarat and really do well, AAP really does well in Himachal, it could be seen as a challenger. But if AAP plays the same role as Goa in Gujarat and Himachal, then AAP would again be seen as no alternative.
Giraj,
Just want to make a
yeah, I was asking you a question. Yeah. You make your point, then I'll ask you the further question. Yeah, sure.
I mean, when we talk about opposition, or you talked about the word hard strategy. I think just because other parties lack it, should not mean that BJP does not follow. I mean, for example, I thought Agnel Babu was representing the Congress, but he was more scathing on the Congress and its own people than I was. And he talked about CMs in the waiting. One, it's also about what you want to do. I mean, if you are in politics, you can't be in the game and blame somebody for playing it. So I think in 2017 we saw that Congress was not even able to decide who's going to lead them. In 2019 again, in 2022 again, when Michael was removed, they were not able to appoint a leader of opposition. And I think that shows the vacuum that has been created in the Congress. And it has suddenly become a rudderless ship. As far as AAP is concerned, you can win certain elections with theatrics, but you can't win all the elections with it. Now, Putibab was very passionate about, what AAP is doing, or maybe, against the Congress. He himself withdrew in favor of Congress. He made an appeal to people saying that, we have to unite and defeat. So that itself shows that the status they enjoy today. So, they keep talking about A team, B team. If you ask me, they were Congress's 12th man. That wherever, Congress had a good chance, if you see, I think AAP has just gone slow in their campaign. Sakri being a prime example. Usually you start attacking or, start your fight against the leader of the party. In Sakri, AAP completely gave up. So I think
Sakri can't be an example.
No,
Finally what happens is everybody comes together to defeat the chief minister. I don't think, let us not take Sakri as an example.
No, but again, that's what I'm saying. See, ultimately,
Other places okay.
So if you are not able to take him on in Sakri, that itself shows that the party has not grown beyond a point. Try
Fair enough. We'll come back to this point later. Okay. My next question is a good point. Now, for shifting focus on to BJP. Now, Giraj, if you see the total number of MLAs in the BJP or ministers in the BJP, you yourself will agree that there are hardly anybody who comes from the old BJP stock, traditional BJP. Almost everybody is a defector or has come into the party in the last 10 years. Okay, and it is true of literally every MLA that you have. Okay, of course, I'm leaving Pramod Sawant out. Couple of MLAs later. The point here is that one is not saying this as a criticism. One is just saying this as a political fact. Okay. Now the point is, over the period of time when the core DNA of your legislatures and ministers are not from either the Sangh or from the roots or from the training that the BJP imparts to its people, you actually have a conglomeration of people who've kind of acquired. It is like the FC Goa football team playing with foreign players in that sense, who of course over a large number of years that they play for the club, they become indigenous. So this is induced indigenization in a way. So the point here is, what does it do for the original cadre? What does it do for BJP MLAs who've lost in constituencies and they see their opponents coming back as their party people? Overall, the point is that there must be a section of the party which is feeling very uncomfortable and claustrophobic with these kind of developments, whatever be the motives or the strategy behind it.
See, again, I mean, this is not something that the BJP is doing alone. I mean,
I know. I'm only asking about BJP because
see, when you're talking about the core voters, I think BJP's first ideology is that it's nation first, party second, and self last. So if you claim to be a core karyakarta, then I think at some point of time you may have differences. I mean, it's not that everybody is going to agree with what has happened, but once the party takes a decision, fall in line. So as far as that is concerned, so again, I mean, you talked about core getting diluted or legislative. First you said that, everybody has come from outside. I mean, Dr. Pramod Sawant is a good example.
I mentioned that.
Subhash Fadesa is another example. Taji Sarkar is another example within the MLAs. So there are multiple others. All I'm trying to say is, as far as your government is concerned.
But you're mentioning 3 out of 23.
No. Again, I mean, see, we can sit with a list and we can decide when who has come. I mean, by that yardstick. But I'll just come to another point. Today, your chief minister is from the cadre. Your BJP state president is from the cadre. And as long as your values and your party is not getting diluted, I think if your people, because ultimately you can't survive on lectures alone. Ultimately, if you are in politics, you have to be in power. So even in 2019, I mean, you yourself remember, that everybody in 2022 has gone, including Cleophas Bab, has gone on a single argument that people will not forgive the BJP for it. We went to the people saying that whatever we did in 2019 was to strengthen the government and to ensure that there is stability. Our whole slogan in the election was Tirtha Ani Vikas, Bhajapa Char Vishwas. I think nothing changes even with the 8 people coming in. As far as the core karyakartas are concerned, I think, allow them some time and they'll actually agree that this is a good
I think I will answer. I will attempt to see. Sometime back he said, when you are in the game, you have to play the game and not depend on lectures. I think he's right in the sense. See, when Babush Monserrat was given ticket against BJP in Panjim by the Congress party, all of us thought it was smart politics. And if he was denied the ticket that time, people would have accused Congress of not being smart. Last time, when Michael Lobo came out of BJP and he and his wife was not accommodated by the Congress, people would have also accused Congress of not being smart, of not playing smart politics, because somehow we also like the whole circus. Now look at the circus, because if people was not with this circus, Babush, Michael would not have come up. So somehow this circus is also wanted by the people and they are giving the circus. I mean, everybody is giving, I am not accusing him, everybody is giving, because that is how elections are.
Okay,
But somehow this game has to stop somewhere.
Right. Put him up, you sir.
My issue is simple. He said, BJP is working within the basic principles. I don't agree with this, because if you see earlier elections in 2007, they were, when Manor Parrikar was in opposition, their aim was no family politics, no family, 2 tickets to the family. Today what is happening? They are compromising on basic principles, and there are 3-4 families now.
No, that is what the game is.
Yes.
You have to play that game. The game.
So it is not. This is today. It is only politics. It is only a.
No. See,
आमका सरकार जाए. किधे जाओ?
Was also, this politics of religion, caste. He represents a party that gave, CM candidate from a particular caste, denying every other leader who had worked. I mean, what are they talking about? Where did Amit Palekar parachute from? I mean, AAP is compromising.
No, but he's saying.
They're in the fray. No, I'll come to that.
Without defending AAP, I'm saying he's saying that the BJP is a much bigger party.
From the Christian community, they never named.
I know, but what they're saying is that okay, AAP may have its own failings.
So they are saying if we have no moral values, we at least expect BJP
No,
to have them.
I have never
He
said
may not be
that.
saying that.
I have never said that.
Okay.
You yourself said that you are
He is
on
only
basic principles.
He
We
is
never
only-
compromise the
he is
basic
only
principles.
saying that the BJP has it diluted its
And it is not
ideological
BJP,
moorings
sir.
because of politics.
Sir, I will complete one
No,
thing.
I think electoral politics,
Just-
politics demand that the moorings be diluted.
Right.
Just simple. This was happening. If you see, what about you were talking about cadre? BJP was built by cadre, and Congress was also having the cadre.
No, Congress is a mass party. Congress
just
is
one-
not a
just
cadre
one-
party.
just one-
That is the
just one-
problem of the
just one-
Congress party.
just
It
one
is
minute.
not a cadre-based party.
Just- it
Never
was-
cadre.
See, but there were
No, it is mass
Seva
party.
Dal, like RSS, Seva Dal was with them. Don't tell me that. And Seva Dal was conducting the things.
No, but Seva Dal was intrinsic to the organization. It was not an outside.
Congress
kind of
and
a
BJP
organization
are
control.
totally
But
different
still
type
they
of
were
parties.
basic principle people were there.
What's your point, Putiwa? The point that you're making
My
is...
point is
Yes,
simple.
yes.
Ki now, like Congress, they are also started taking all the peoples and it became mass organization.
So you're saying BJP is just...
It is a mass organization,
BJP has
not a
become
BJP.
just an any other party.
We have been accused of taking people from other parties even at the central level. But despite of that,
That's
our
not true.
core remains the same.
Right.
Again, we delivered 370, we delivered on CAA, we delivered on Ram Mandir. I think whichever matter is concerned, we have not committed. 370 was something which we had promised decades back. And when we got the power, when we realized that we have enough numbers, both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, see, you cannot do it. I mean, you cannot say that this is what I want to do. And if you don't have the numbers, you will not be able to achieve anything.
But fundamentally, my fundamental answer that I would seek from you is that don't you agree that because of the nature of your MLAs and their past, the legislature party does not represent or is not reflective of core BJP?
See, now again, I mean, as I said, I mean, it may not consist of core BJP, but unless you tell me specific incidents where you believe that party's ideology is not being followed, I will give it to you saying that, we have moved away from the ideology. For example, I mean, as far as governance is concerned, I say it with absolute pride that since 2000, the first time when we came to power, since then till 2022, 95% of tourism growth in Goa has happened under a BJP government. Now, if people across the globe feel that Goa is much safer when the BJP rules, then I think that there is something we have
Well,
to do.
that's another debate on law
Yeah,
and order.
we can hold another debate on that. Correct.
All I'm saying is, unless you tell me specifically,
have-
now AAP as another, theatrics that they do, they say that, they tried to buy our MLAs also. They have not been able to even show one number where they received a call from. Then they say, somebody said, so I don't really get
Okay.
into that.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, the Congress needs to introspect on why people are dumping them, be it in Goa or be it somebody like Ghulam Nabi Azad who has not gone to the BJP.
Okay. I'll introduce a quick thought before I take a break, and I'll just get Anil and Navid Bab into it, and others can respond to it after the break on the same topic. Anil Bab, one important issue is we are talking of political parties. Shouldn't it be time, and as we have also stressing, to look at ourselves as voters, as people, and so on and so forth?
Correct.
Because there is a lot of internal introspection that people need to make, and even institutions need to make. There are different institutions, that have taken certain decisions with regard to politics. People themselves in panchayat level, in taluka level, in the municipality levels, they all want to ensure that they lead a better life through the political route by attaching themselves to a particular political leader. Institutions have done the same thing. Do you agree? And if you could elaborate.
You see, we have certain institutions, like we have Society for Social Justice and all those things, who are like give a good advice to the people during election time. I'll tell you my example. I contested in Saligaon. So when I went to Saligaon, Jayesh was contesting against me. He went to one priest, a very good priest, very well-meaning priest, always active. Now, Jayesh promised him in front of the sacrament that he's not going to defect. I was telling that priest, this fellow is going to go to BJP because Michael is supporting him. So the priest believed him. On the pulpit, he was cutting me down. He was saying, this fellow has come last minute because I was given the ticket last minute. He has come to defeat the, he's trying to help the BJP. Same thing this election. A certain section of the institution went vehemently supporting the Congress. And they meant well. But now they have to introspect. how do you decide who is a good person? Like a lot of people supported Michael Lobo and all these other guys who are defectors. They are known to be defectors. Everybody knew. And this institution, which are well-meaning, they put their whole weight behind them. And these guys afterwards go, what do you do now? Even last time when I was defeated and this fellow went to this, I sent a message to the priest, what do you do now? You didn't trust me and you trusted him. So these institutions put their weight behind without sometimes checking. But the politicians also take advantage of this. Like I tell you, 2 times Girish has done this. The last time Girish made one priest send a fax to Rahul Gandhi's office that if you don't give, in my constituency, if you don't give a ticket to a certain person, we are not going to work in the whole constituency. This time again, Girish sent a message that one priest from the bishop's house has said that we have to take Michael, otherwise you cannot win. When we checked with the priest, through somebody else, the priest said, I never told anything. But this is the message that goes to this, and Girish is using this priest for his own this.
Okay, now that's about institutions and politicians, but the idea is that what about people themselves? My point is that everywhere, in every constituency, at every level, it doesn't matter who, what jersey your MLA is wearing, whether he's wearing a BJP jersey or I'll come to BJP jersey, Congress jersey, any other jersey. Ultimately, you attach yourself because of benefits and power.
People seem to have been numbed now.
No, I think this is a problem because we are a small state. And in this small state, we have these satraps.
Right.
In each constituency, we have this. And because of our smallness, a person with a vote share of 2,500 is almost a winner. Because if the party can provide another 4,000, 5,000, he's a winner.
Correct.
So this 2,000 of this 2,500, about 1,000 people are always around him.
Okay, I'll just get.
Okay,
then Abid Bhavan.
I'm really thankful to Anil Bab that he spoke about Society for Social Justice throwing weight behind politicians. This is something that we have been saying for a long time. This same society was sleeping in 2005 when people defected and went to the Congress. But suddenly, so this is what we've been saying, that when it happens to the BJP, we talk about religion being used. But when Society for Social Justice puts their weight behind candidates, that is not religious meddling. I am saying if they should stop calling themselves.
So they don't support only Catholics. They don't support only Catholics. They support Hindus also.
But have they ever supported a good candidate from the BJP?
Hindus. They have supported Hindus.
No, it's again. I mean, I
Because you are saying religious. No, you said religious.
I never made it about religious.
No, you said just now.
No, but that is what I'm saying. They genuinely believe that Congress is good for them. And, and the reasons may be obvious, but all I'm saying is they should change it to Society for Politics.
Okay, Abid Bab, you've been hearing everybody very patiently. This last thing of the point is, this whole thing happens. Politicians who won only 4 months ago, they have the guts and the and the confidence to put everything on the side and defect. Don't they have this whole fear that they'll have to go back and meet the people, or are they so confident that as long as they're giving jobs and power and positions to people, nobody's going to object to it?
एक गजाल पळोवपाक जाय. लास्ट असेंब्लीच्या टेन्युरान 12 जाणांनी डिफेक्ट केले. दे वेंट टू पॉवर. आता तातूंतले कितले जाण आयले?
करेक्ट.
3 जाण आयले. एक निळकंठ, जेनिफर आणि बाबूश मोन्सेरात. निळकंठ हळणकार जो आसा थिवी, थंय तांचो प्रेसिडेंट रावता, स्टेट प्रेसिडेंट रावता. तांचो तेन्नाचो ऑर्गनायझिंग सेक्रेटरी त्या कॉन्स्टिट्युएन्सीन रावतालो. ऑब्वियसली ताका थंयच्यान जिखून येवचें पडलें. बाबूश आनी जेनिफर आपल्या हेचेर आयल्या. बाबूशानूच सांगला ओपनली जिखल्या उपरांत की आपणाक बीजेपी कडल्यान तितली मदत जावना जितली जावपाक जाय आशिल्ली. दॅट इज अ पब्लीक स्टेटमेंट ऑफ बाबूश. ओके, ही रिस्क तेंच्यांनी कित्याक घेतली? आता हातूंतले जर 12तले 3 जाण निवडून आयले तरी आता 8 जाण वता. ही रिस्क कित्याक घेतली? एक तातूंत एक फॅक्टर असो आसूं शकता की इलेक्शन जे आसा किंवा पॉलिटिक्स जे आसा ते आता सोशल सर्वीस उरूना. ते कितें तरी नायस चल्ले आसा. म्हणजे इलेक्शन जिखपा खातीर पयशे खर्च करपा खातीर पयशे घालचे पडटा. 5 वर्सांत ते पयशे येवपाचे पडटा. दीस इज ओपन सिक्रेट. तर ऑपोजिशनान रावून म्हाका ते पयशे मेळचे ना जाल्यार हांवें पॉलिटिक्सा कडेन वचपाक जाय, पावरी कडेन वचपाक जाय. तेका लागून हे सगळे चल्लेले आसा. तुम्ही
I think I will add to this. See, the whole problem is what he said. See, last time's defectors also lost. But now, this time, why they have gone? They are also quite early. Last time went after 2 years.
Right.
Now they are, it is 4.5 years left. So, they have no patience to wait for these 4.5 years. So let us make now whatever they have to make. That appears to be the motto.
Okay, I'll have to take a short break and we'll come back for the next shorter session after the break. Thank you.
63 हुंची डिफेक्शन झाले 67 रे
No, 63. I'll send you the
35 आहे ना?
details.
See,
63